Hey, my name's Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies, and this new riser just came in. It's from Topoint, so a Chinese company. I just want to sort of show you the little clicker plate because it's even two-tone color here. This is called the X. It's 25 inches. I think they do a 25-inch riser. I'll show you the little limb pockets there. This is very much like a win and win design. I want to talk a bit about Topoint. So Topoint, Chinese manufacturer, they produce compounds, recurves, hunting bows, sights, RRS, pretty much whatever you can think of they make. And they make lots of stuff for lots of people. So when you see a product for sale from Topoint, I never know whether they've brought it from someone, they've made it for someone, so I don't know. I just know they make lots of stuff and they're pretty big, right? So anyway, when I saw this riser, I was like, well, I want to do a review on this. But then I'm like, well, let's just take a look back at all the Topoint risers they've had in the past and they've still got, and how they're catering for all the different price points and how the risers vary. Because to me, that's kind of interesting from a customer perspective about what riser do you buy. So before we look at this one, I'm going to start off at the start. And this isn't even the cheapest. So this riser is not the cheapest of the Topoint lineup of recurves. They have an R2, which is even cheaper. But this is the cheapest of international fitting limbs that clip in. All right. It's a cast riser. Few other companies have a riser pretty much the same as this. There's a couple of little differences. Some's the paint and some have a different sort of grip. So I'm not having a go at Topoint, and they may feel I am. I'm not. I'm just saying, look, there's lots of risers which look almost the same as this, and they might make them for other companies. They might buy them off someone else. I don't know what the deal is. I just know they look very much alike, and the pricing's very much alike, right? So, oh, this is interesting. So there's a little clicker thing. So that's where your clicker screws in. Now, normally they just drill and tap. That's what's always happened. Looks like they put a little thread in. So a little thread in there. So the paint's, this is a powder coat. With a cast riser, they can't anodize them, so they've got to spray them. This looks like a pretty good paint job. I've had issues with, I'm going to say these risers before, not Topoint risers, but risers from other companies before in this style. So they've got nice, flashy, shiny risers, and they've had paint imperfections. When I say paint imperfections, I mean like it's like a blistering inside the alloy coming out onto the paint. I haven't had that issue with Topoint. Right, so these little bushings, this is for your arrow rest, plunger, so lock-in spot, so plunger there, and you can lock your arrow rest with that one there. So that's quite good. Sight there. Look, this, I'm going to say the grip on this is different to the other risers, which look the same. Look, this is, what, $120 odd for a riser, maybe 130, maybe 150. It's very affordable. Targeted at the beginner archer, right? So then you put a set of $100 and something limbs, either from Topoint or one of the other companies, and you got yourself a cheap target recurve, okay? So this is where Topoint starts, and like I said, they've got one with screw-in limbs, or a few with screw-in limbs, which are cheaper than this, but this is the cheapest of your international fitting limbs. Then Topoint went, let's produce a machine riser. This riser is really popular, especially in purple, because for some reason everyone likes purple. You've got these little blocks here to move it left to right. It's a push-pull mechanism. This is called the Unison. It's a wood grip. The grip is laminated. Look, it's a fairly simple riser. You can see there's no pockets on the side. It's just a flat machining to cut down time, to cut down waste. You're making this thing cheaper. So this riser is stronger than the cast riser because it's a machine riser. You can see where the clicker goes in. It's just drilled and tapped. This is just drilled and tapped. The sights drilled and tapped. Look, this riser is really popular because it's the cheapest of the machined risers for beginners. Okay, look, I shot this riser and I found it okay. I wasn't sold on the grip. Okay, so I wasn't sold on the grip. And if I pulled a number out the air, I would say around 300, mid $300. They also do a shiny, like a mirror finish, which they called Spectra, which is a little bit more expensive, but comes in a whole heap of colors. Very popular because it comes in lots of colors. And I want to sort of say this is where Topoint is getting into the market. And when I say getting into the market, I mean they're catering for the needs of customers. I cannot stress it enough that I've been selling archery gear for 40 something odd years. And you say to a manufacturer, we need pretty colored target bows, and they just don't do it. Topoint do it. They do all the colors. They do pretty much whatever you want at every price point. So they've got the market covered. And when I think about capitalism, I think Topoint is, that's the purpose of capitalism. That there's a need, they make it, and then they sell it at the right price and people buy it. And that's exactly what Topoint do. So around $300 odd. Then Topoint thought, well, let's produce something a little bit fancier. Hence the Aerodyne came out in all the same colors, right? So this is the purple. I picked purple on purpose. The little limb things where it clips in is a little bit fancier than Unison. You can see the little ridges up here. This is so it doesn't dig into the limb, so you don't get those marks on your limbs. This is very much, I'm going to say, very much like Win and Win use on their limb pockets. They've got a few different limb pockets, but this is quite common. Little curves, just little things. It's a push-pull mechanism like on the Unison. The machining's obviously nicer. It's like cornered. They've rounded off the edges where the Unison wasn't rounded off. You can see it's got a whole pocket for the limb to fit in. It's fancier. It's like limb bolt. Fancy limb bolt. You can see there's more work in the limb bolt. The locking mechanism inside, it's purple on the back here, and it's silver on the back here. So you've got a cheaper limb bolt in this one, and this one's a fancier limb bolt. And they've gone to the detail of matching the back here, anodizing a little inside there. What they also did on the Aerodyne, they went, look, we want a target bow, but bare bow's really big, right? So they went, bare bow's big, so we're going to give you two options of weights. This is brass, it's heavy. This bolts onto those two screws there, so it kind of looks like that. It looks nice, it's compact, it meets the bare bow rules of having a heavy. Why do you want heavies? And the bow's balanced, because you're not allowed stabilizers for bare bow. These come in two options. One's brass, one's alloy. The alloy, I think, is 200 grams. I think the brass is 800 grams, right? I think the price is $50 and $140 odd, right? Affordable. Clicker plate here, and I'm showing you this because the next one thing. But look, this is a much nicer riser. The price on this riser around I'm going to say around 400, 450 maybe on this riser. It's very nice. The first thing I noticed when I grabbed this is the grip. For me, it's a much nicer grip. It feels like the Fivix grip to me. It's a grip I'm very comfortable with, and it's a much nicer grip in my view than the Unison. So there's the two grips. You can see the difference in the angle, and this is just a really nice grip. So for the extra, let's say $100 odd, look it up, the price, because people go, oh, you quoted whatever on your video. Look, for an extra $100, like, it's got a nicer grip. On that reason alone, this is enough reason for me to upgrade from the Unison to the Aerodyne. Then you've got nicer machining, you've got nicer shapes, you've got nicer clicker plate here. It's just a nicer bow. It looks like an expensive bow. It looks every bit as nice as any of the expensive risers made, in my view. Like, I like this. This is better. It's just all better, right? So at a really good price point. at a really nice price point, right? So then Topoint goes, well, the Aerodyne's doing okay. Let's come out with an even more expensive riser. Hence the X. So the X is just being released. So you can see there's more machining. It's fancier, like the limb pockets here are fancier. It's a fancier riser. The grip feels better on the X than the Aerodyne in my view. It still can fit a weight for barebow. It's a different weight, and I would think, well, it should be the same weight as this one, but obviously the shape's different here. You can see it's a different shape. So these, you can see these two screw holes are different in this versus this. So you can't use the same weight from the Aerodyne to the X. Okay, it's a different weight. It looks the same price. It's just different. The X comes in, when I say two color options, a straight color, which is cheaper, or a two-tone color. The two-tone color, I think it's probably the best two-tone coloring I've seen. And that's not taking away anything from Win & Win, who's obviously, I think, was the first people to come out with the two-tone color. But this, I mean, just look at the detail here. The detail, like it's just unbelievable. Like here, the little edges, they've just put in red here. Just the clicker plate, they've done red here. Now, the colors it comes in two-tone, hopefully I can throw up some pictures. You know, they do purples, greens, whatever you want in the two-tone. But you're going to have to pay more. Okay, so let's say it's $100 more for two-tone, which is probably fairly equivalent with Win & Win. When they do two-tone, it's about $100 more with Win & Win. So about the same with Topoint. Now, so you're going to say, well, how much is this Topoint? I'm going to say around the $700. And people are going to say, geez, that's expensive for a Chinese riser. And I'm going to say, well, most of the risers are Chinese anyway. Okay, so most of your risers now are made in China. So Fivix has two factories, Win & Win has two factories, but a lot of the stuff is now made in China. Okay, well, then you're going to say, well, Topoint don't offer your top Olympian shooters. And absolutely they don't. Absolutely, Topoint don't offer the top Olympian shooters, although I see a few Chinese shooting their products and doing very well with them, but they don't pay shooters. Okay, and I'm speaking to some of the Chinese manufacturers, and they can't afford to pay shooters. They don't have the same cost structure built into their pricing to pay the top shooters. Okay. So if you want to pay someone like a Brady, you're going to have to pay him to put his photo on the packet and probably give him a bit of each of these that you sell. Because, you're paying for him to promote your product, right? The Chinese don't do that. They're like, well, we'll just put a margin on and then the product will sell itself. So, I'm going to say here, the finish here, instead of being smooth, they've got this finish. Look, I think it looks amazing. I really do. I think this looks amazing. It's just very, very pretty. Now, I shoot Fivix. I like Fivix. It's really dependable. I've been selling Fivix for 5 years. I've had no failures in 5 years, I think. One cross and riser was bent. Okay. 5 years, nothing. I don't know if Topoint is as good as far as reliability as Fivix, because Fivix is being shot by all these Olympians. I've got 5 years of people shooting thousands of arrows and no failures on limbs, no failures on risers. So when I look at this riser, I'm going to say to Fivix, the anodizing is better on the Topoint. It looks flashier than yours. The red looks better on Topoint than the Fivix red. The Fivix red fades. I've got a Fivix red Argon X and it fades. I wish my Argon X looked like this. As far as in a two-tone, I would pay extra for it. So when I see this riser, what I say to Fivix and the owner of Fivix and sales reps of Fivix, I want your risers to look like this because this is awesome and it would sell. Like just here, they've machined down this to make this a bit thinner here. It's just the thing of detail, more machining, more, it's just cool. It's just really cool, little thing down here. So you can add weight, like it's, so 2 holes, 1, 2, like it's cool. The grip's nice. It's kind of, it's narrower than the Fivix grip, but still feels like a Fivix grip. Yeah, I really like it. So anyway, that's the X. Now with Topoint, they do produce limbs, and I'm going to say, and they do produce limbs of different levels, but they don't have the same reputation as like a company like Fivix or Win and Win. Okay, but it's not to say in the next 5 years you won't see them develop, and it's not like to see in the next 3 years you will not see top archers shooting their risers, because I think it's going to happen. It gives me, I think the market is moving quickly, and I think you're either leading and pushing new products out or you're falling behind. And I think Topoint is just punching out new products, and the pricing is excellent, the quality is really good, and they started off with a cheap product and just built. And now they're going from beginner to advanced, and I think it's very good for the sport of archery. Anyway, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. That's the Topoint X and the Topoint interchangeable risers. And yeah, I think they're very well priced and very good. Thanks for watching. Bye.